And she went in for what is supposed to be a routine colonoscopy. And that's when they found some polyps and said that they looked a little unusual, and they wanted to go in and do a biopsy of them, and they were going to do a small surgery to remove them, and then after they got the test back, that's when they found that they were not benign, and said that we need to do a major surgery to remove, most of her colon.
I remember is I think she was on the phone, and she got on the phone with the doctor and was crying, and I didn't know what was going on. And then she had told me that she had had colon cancer. And I didn't know what it was because I don't ever hear about what colon cancer is. You usually only hear about like breast cancer and stuff.
I had my colonoscopy, I believe, was on a Friday, and Tuesday morning I had pulled into the Starbucks parking lot and was sitting in my car when he called me.
And then after that, where did you go?
I immediately went to my husband's office to tell him.
And how did he react to that?
We both cried and was scared, and just knew we'd get, he'd support me. And
You're scared for your mom, but then you don't want to show that you're scared because then mom's going to get even more scared, and it was a rough situation. She would only have to get chemotherapy if after the surgery it kept going or if it was still there or something. But I thought she would, but I didn't really know. I was just concerned on the whole entire surgery thing. I didn't know if she was going to have to get chemo or not. It's almost like Mom was surprised that everybody came, but I wasn't surprised that most of them came because almost all of them you expected them to come. It's like you were surprised that they were there, but in your heart you knew that they would come.
And it's funny what you take away from something like this, but I remember being overwhelmed by how many people sent me flowers. The hardest part about the hospital recovery was getting up and walking and feeling like someone was ripping your guts out of you as you went around. And I had surgery that day after lunch and came out of recovery, and at 10:30 that night I was walking. My husband spent the night the first night, and Jordan spent the night every night after that, except for the very last night my youngest daughter Chandler stayed with me. And all of that was fun. I mean, having that time and having somebody sitting by you and having somebody that loves you enough to never leave you alone. It's what you want.
I never see Dad cry. Dad, back when I was younger, I'd never seen Dad cry ever, but now that he's getting older and more sensitive, I think it's after the surgery actually, because I had never seen him cry until the waiting room.
The next few days were kind of tough. She had some internal bleeding and stuff, more so than they wanted her to have. It's kind of a tricky thing. They put her on blood thinners so that you don't have a blood clot and possibility of a stroke. But then, if they give you too much of the blood thinners, then you don't heal up. So it causes you to continually, bleed.
And then they were going to put me in ICU because my iron count was so low, and that was one of the reasons they were talking about not releasing me from the hospital either, is because my iron count was so low. So.
Used to Mom being so energetic and running around and making me tired because I can't walk as fast as her and all of this stuff, and we would always talk about how fast she walked. And now here our mom is laying in bed and she can't even move. And you're expecting Mom to be real happy, but she wasn't. I couldn't even figure out how to smile because my mom was my smile. So I did go to school, and I would actually go to my friends' houses and stuff, and it's kind of like I didn't want to be there. It's like I wanted to, but I didn't want to be around her because I was scared, and I was just scared that she was not going to be normal. And I I'm so used to my mom, seeing my mom a certain way, that I didn't know how to react whenever she was in the hospital acting weird. And so my family would kind of get, y'all would kind of get upset at me because I wasn't around a lot. But then it's almost like when she got put in ICU, I knew how to react, and I knew that I needed to be there for her.
Pretty wiped out. I lost 14 pounds by the end of my surgery because you couldn't eat, and I was sick the whole time, and it's tough road.
I mean, it was great to have her back home. She was, you know, for the most part, still sleeping pretty well, but just kind of slow to get around and had to not lift anything for a long period of time. But when you have kind of internal digestion surgery like that, you know, it takes a while before you get back on a regular diet. So, well, I mean, the first couple of days it was soft stuff, but after that it was back on the regular routine. I mean, she didn't eat steak and all this, but you know, she tried to keep stuff, chicken soup and you know, soft things. But
Then I'd come home and I'd get my pups, Macy and Lily, and put them in my lap, and we watched Joyce Meyer. And then that would get me to almost time for a half a turkey sandwich and some applesauce. And then I'd do my walking in the afternoon, and you know, and I had some reading I did, and a nap I'd do every afternoon, and it just kind of continued from there. But my favorite part of the day was coming home with my coffee and sitting in the couch with Lily and Macy in my lap and watching Joyce Meyer. But this definitely made me feel like I needed to do something, especially at church or in the community, just to be a little more outspoken about it. No, I'm not talking in your face kind of person, but I just wanted to be more of a doer. And so I have since joined a church called Refuge Church, and it's at a school, and every Sunday I go and turn that school into a church, and I have since attended conferences that I never thought I would go to. I've spoken of my past that's kind of burdened me my whole life. I've moved on through forgiveness, and I'm just a little bit more outspoken about my Christianity, and it has been life-changing for me.
When she got to church, it's almost like she knew where she's supposed to be, and Mom's like a leader now. Like, she greets everybody at the door, and it's like she brings everybody the smile that she gives to our family.
But the one thing that I always, I think that I really needed to learn in this was that God is with me, and He is always with me. And there was not a moment in this process that He didn't show up for me through somebody. And when I say that, it is beyond coincidence. It was moments when I was alone, scared, sick, in the bathroom, at moments that I would get a text from a friend that was praying, texting me the prayer they were praying over me without me ever even requesting it. And every moment I needed something, I got a card, a text, a phone call, a Facebook message, a meal delivered, a knock on the door, someone coming in, someone going out. There was never a single moment, and there were a lot of moments. There was not a single one that God didn't show up. Not one. And every moment since then, it's been changed.